Hello, I'm Autumn Aldous, and this video is going to talk about how to deal with loneliness, self-isolation and social distancing in the current pandemic that's happening. Now, there's a huge difference between being alone and being lonely. Being alone is a physical description. Loneliness is experiencing life in a negative and painful way. You can be alone, but you do not have to be lonely. I think loneliness is something that many people in this current pandemic are possibly experiencing for the first time because they've been forced to stay in their house with no contact. And especially if you're self-isolating because you have got underlying conditions, then still at this moment in time you are having very, very limited contact with many people in the outside world and your friends. So this little video is going to show you ways to minimise loneliness and how to embrace being on your own. Now, the first thing you need to do is you need to regulate your time. The days can be very long if you've got nothing planned and nothing happened. If you wake up in the morning and you've got a whole stretch of nothingness in front of you, that can exasperate the feelings of loneliness. And so you have to hold yourself accountable and actually set yourself a little timetable. Albeit it can be flexible and loose, but you do need to start to regulate your day. So maybe if you get up in the morning and you set yourself your breakfast, and then afterwards you might do a little bit of arts and crafts, and then maybe around lunchtime you want to have a telephone call or speak to somebody, or go out for a walk if you can go out for a walk in the afternoon, or sit in the garden. Then maybe later on in the day read a book or do some handicrafts or exercise, and then in the evening have your evening meal and settle down to the evening. When you've got some structure, it really helps you embrace being on your own rather than feeling lonely. And so however it is, no matter how loose it is, try to have a structure each and every day throughout the coming pandemic situation. Also try to stay active each day. So it's about taking back your life and giving it some meaning and some purpose. So staying active. You could do something like practice Tai Chi or yoga or low impact workouts on YouTube. As I've mentioned before, go for a walk. Go for a walk around even streets that you might not have been to locally before. If you've always thought, I wonder what's down there, now is the time, if you're able to go and explore. Whilst it's easy to focus exclusively on how to manage your mental health and loneliness during the crisis, sometimes it's actually quite easy to forget our physical and mental health. And if you've spent weeks already of isolation without getting any exercise, it will have a detrimental effect on your ability to cope mentally. So make sure each and every day you actually do something that moves your body. Try to do something meaningful at least a few times a week. Another contributing factor of loneliness can be a loss of a sense of meaning. If you are finding you're not just bored, but you're losing your sense of self, then that loss of sense of self might be affecting you. If it wasn't lockdown, you might be very active in the community. You might have been doing volunteering at a charity shop, or even engaging in a local mental health arts centre. And now that you're having to isolate, it might be taking all of that away, making you feel again excluded and on your own. But there are things you can do that might create a meaningfulness in your life. For example, sign up for an online course. So try to do a little bit of work every day. Maybe it's time, if you haven't thought about it, to create a family tree using one of the genealogy websites. There's many free sites out there to actually see where you've come from, trace the origin of your surname and see if you can track that down. Or even sign up to volunteering online. Maybe it might even just be a listening service at the moment. Try to connect with others. Obviously, the best thing you can do to combat loneliness during this period of isolation is to connect with others. But at this moment in time, it will be in a non-traditional way. So we're all having to make adaptations to our life because we're all having to stay at home more and more often. So yes, you might not be able to see your friends and family, even for the next few months if it carries on as it is at the moment. But you can think of out-of-the-box ways to connect with your family and friends. So even if you don't particularly like engaging with technology, you can send a handwritten letter or postcard. And when you get them back, that's actually quite exciting. You can even put little trinkets in them or something, or funny little jokes, you could say, and send it off. And then when you get it back, it's a bit of excitement. Call somebody on the telephone, particularly on days when you are feeling the most lonely. That's the days when you might want to isolate yourself. But they're the very, very days when you need to reach out more than ever. Do a phone call on a video chat service, something like FaceTime or Zoom. You can even join in with quizzes. If you've never used Meetup before, Meetup is a social meeting app. There are many, many resources on Meetup. It's totally free to use, where people are engaging with each other only via video chats, and even playing quizzes with people you've never met before. Stay in touch maybe by texting or instant messengers. Or you can even have a group WhatsApp or parties with each other on these technology nowadays, so you can keep in touch even with friends overseas nowadays. And so it could be a benefit that comes out with this. You might actually be able to touch base with and get to know family members that live in other parts of the world. So a few things that you can do where you can touch base and communicate with people online. You could join and participate in Facebook groups about topics that you're interested in. So let's say you enjoy looking at the stars. You can maybe find some astrology groups and astronomy groups or whatever type of groups they are, and start to talk about things that interest you. Classic cars maybe, or train spotting, anything that you have almost like forgotten from your past or you haven't been doing. There's many, many online forums where you can now talk to people, albeit without meeting them in person. Sign up for online forums about your hobbies and your interest. Or another thing that's quite popular nowadays, in fact more popular than ever since lockdown, is join a multiplayer game. Things like Word Feud, or there's online Scrabble, or even I think online Cluedo is quite a big one as well. Fantasy football teams. These are happening more and more, and they're a great way of engaging your mind and actually speaking to other people at the same time. If you're single, you could even try a little bit of online dating, because I've known quite a few people during the last 6 months that have met via online, even if it's just talking to them, and you can get to know them even in more depth before meeting them for maybe a socially distanced walk, where you just kind of like see them and chat and get to know them more. Try to find your sources of comfort. Finding a way to give yourself self-care and comfort if you are feeling lonely can improve your mental health. So maybe make a list of a few things that make you feel a little bit more comforted. things like a foot massage or a foot spa. Take a bubble bath. If you've got a pet, really notice your pet. If you've got a cat, stroke your cat. It's been proven that that can make you feel better. Cook healthy comfort foods. Read a book that maybe you haven't read for years and years, maybe one of your childhood favourite books. Hold and smell a cup of herbal tea. Maybe you use lavender. Lavender will have a lavender candle. Lavender has been proven to reduce stress. Create something. There's a reason why artists are becoming swept away with their work. Expressing yourself through creativity is very therapeutic. So whether it's painting, writing, dancing, writing poetry, you can channel how you're feeling. You can channel any feelings of anxiety and loneliness by making something. It can be very, very cathartic. So something that you can try, a couple of ways of actually trying this is journal. Write down your thoughts and your feeling, or draw your thoughts and feelings. Have a daily piece of art that expresses how you felt during that day. Write a little bit of poetry. Start writing your life story. Start to reflect back on all of the good and happy things that might have come out of your life. Try writing a short story. Even simple things. I mean, I personally love colouring in, and these mindful colouring in books I can do for hours and hours. Or start a new hobby, something like jewellery making, or painting by numbers, or start to learn to sew or knit. Maybe start a home project. Create a space in your home. Make a little area that's almost like your comfort zone, with all pleasing things that make you feel happy. Maybe some artwork that you've done yourself, or a little area with candles and soft cushions in. If you've always thought about doing these things but have never done them, now's a perfect time to start a home project. Another way that you can reduce loneliness and improve your mental health is find healthy distractions. So healthy distractions might be things like read a magazine that interests you, or even try putting yourself out of your comfort zone and read a magazine about a subject you've never even thought about. There are some wonderful podcasts and YouTube of all kinds of strange and diverse things that you've never even thought about before. TED Talks are fantastic. Watch a series on a theme. Things like comedy movies will really help you reduce stress. Watch an interesting documentary and use the next few months to learn about the world at large. Create or listen to music. So go back and listen to all your old favourite songs from when you was a teenager. Create a playlist of happy songs, or maybe learn to play a musical instrument yourself, or write your own song, the guitar or the piano. There's lots of ways at this moment in time where you can do things that have never even been open to us before. You can take virtual tours. Many museums around the world are actually offering free digital access to their collections, like the Louvre. And I think all kinds of over the world, you can go to places virtually and explore them in a way that's never been available to us before. And lastly, do something over the next few months to plan for your future. While it might feel like this loneliness will last forever, there will come a time in the not too distant future where we will be back in our usual routines. One way to feel less lonely now is to make plans for the future. So create a future list of all the things you want to do. Maybe go online and order some spring bulbs. Make a bucket list or a goal list of the things that you've always played around with. And then think, well, as soon as this is over, I'm going to start to tick off all of this future goal list. All of these things will help to feel you more connected with the greater world and less lonely.